So, the topic that I've chosen is inflation. Inflation is one of the most important economic problems in India because it quietly affects people in their everyday lives. So, every time the price of, say, fuel or vegetables rise, there is an increased pressure on households. So, the households feel more pressure, and especially low income and middle income families. So, to put it in simple words, inflation means that over time, the same amount of money it buys fewer goods and services. So something that costed 20 rupees back then, it probably costs 30 rupees now, and people are forced to either spend more or cut down on other needs. So this is inflation put simply. So India has experienced notable periods of high inflation, particularly between 2009 and 2013. So that was because food prices rose sharply due to supply shortages, and there was a rising demand simultaneously leading to inflation. And again during 2020, because of COVID, there was a break in the supply chains, there was a disruption in the supply chains, global supply chains, because of which India faced inflation. So to manage inflation, the RBI, it plays a key role. It increases interest rates, it makes loans more expensive, and this kind of reduces the excess spending in the economy. While the government, it kind of supplements the initiatives taken by the RBI through its own measures like reducing fuel taxes, releasing food grains from buffer stocks, restricting exports of essential commodities to stabilize domestic prices. So since 2016, India is trying to maintain inflation at a 4% rate, so with a little variation here and there. So because control of inflation is necessary, and along with this, there are other solutions and that help control inflation, like improving the supply chain to reduce wastage, investing in better storage and transportation, boosting domestic production in agriculture and manufacturing, strengthening the public distribution system. So these solutions, they kind of work on different timelines. Some, like adjusting interest rates, it is it can be implemented very quickly within a few months, while others, like strengthening the infrastructure, it might take several years. But however, controlling inflation, it's not very straightforward. There are a lot of barriers. So global factors such as rising oil prices or geopolitical conflicts, that is a barrier because it can suddenly increase costs when we're not expecting it. Political pressure is also a barrier because it kind of pressurizes us. It becomes difficult for the government to take like few decisions, like raising interest rates and all. And climate change is also a barrier because it adds to the uncertainty to agriculture through irregular rainfall or extreme weather. So historically, India has faced inflation during events like the oil shocks of 1970s and various food crises. But over time, stronger institutions and better policy frameworks, they've helped manage it more effectively. So inflation is a very critical issue, and control of inflation is necessary.